Well, I went a couple of weeks there without a good rant on my mind. Not that there's things not that I wasn't ranting, but I didn't have any rants on mine that I thought were appropriate to record. I do now. This coronavirus crisis is creating a really interesting lesson for us all if we care to pay attention. Now, first of all, I'd like to address the coronavirus crisis. I already did once. Very recently. I think it was the previous video, in fact, where I said, remember, folks, it's a flu. And I want to elaborate on that. It's just a flu virus. Some folks get sick from the flu. Sometimes the flu kills. Period. That's all it is. That's all it ever was. We rack up the numbers of people who are sick, the numbers of people who succumbed. We don't count like that for the regular flu. Why do you think that is? Because it would become too normal and we'd stop getting freaked out about it. And they want us to get freaked out. The whole idea here is to freak us out. It doesn't matter what the vehicle is, whether it's coronavirus, a war somewhere, a fire somewhere else, a disaster in another place. The beautiful thing about a virus, like a war, is you can actually involve the entire damn globe. All of those people who said, I can't afford to buy anything anymore, I'm going to save my money. Now yank out their piggy banks and drain them. Oh, what's the matter? We shook you down and you don't even have a penny left in your pants. I guess you'll have to die of coronavirus. Do you know? They're running out of this stuff everywhere. This bottle, jeez, it's actually getting used up. Someone's actually been using it. This, probably my husband. This bottle's like 2.5, 3 years old. I'm sorry, but this is enough. This bar of soap. Yeah. You walk up to the sink, you get your hands wet, you get the soap wet. You rub it all over your hands until you get enough on there for your hands to be good and slippery. Then you rub that in like this, Rub it, clean it. Wash it off. And when you're out and about, oops, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. You just need to develop a little bit of OCD paranoia about where you stick your fingers. If you must stick your fingers on your face, go wash your hands, handle your face. It's up to you if you want to wash them again. I recommend you do, because if you don't, you're probably going to wind up spreading a virus of your own, in case you're the infected one. Because don't forget, you might be spreading this thing before you know you're sick. If you do get sick, don't panic. Get out the cough syrup, hot soup, orange juice, vitamin C. Do all the usual things. Your immune system's probably more than likely going to take care of it now. Enough ranting about the virus, because I really didn't want to. I want to rant about what the virus is highlighting. Go back to that hand sanitizer. People are running out. Apparently there's websites charging exorbitant fees, like $200 for a bottle of this. $200 for alcohol and gel. You people are nuts. Sorry, but just go buy some alcohol. Add a little soap, or I don't know. It's just alcohol. But that's the thing. See, everything has been offloaded to China. All the manufacturing, all the food production. People in Germany are running out of flour because it comes from China. They don't grow wheat in Germany anymore. People don't even get their own basic necessities from home anymore. That's the problem. That's it right there. And those manufacturers, they know it and they don't care. They're not here for you. They're not producing products for you. The products are vehicles for profit. They're producing profit. The vehicle is one of the ways they'll do it. And the less they can put into that vehicle, the better. If they can get you down to where you're just sitting on the hub of a wheel, and that's all the vehicle it takes to get the profit out of you, that's all you'll get. They're not concerned about whether or not the quality is there. They're not concerned about whether or not the function is there. They're not concerned about your needs. They're only concerned about your wallet. And so they have gradually shifted all food production, all of the, well, I can't say all. I mean, I live in Saskatchewan, the breadbasket. But they've gradually shifted global markets to the point where we are utterly dependent on ships coming in from overseas. Even in Canada. This is insane. We should be producing the basic local needs. When we started all of this way back in 18 whatever or 17 whatever, when the factories started going, and I could look up the dates, I understand how the Industrial Revolution worked, but I don't necessarily connect the dates properly. But back before all that started, we were all fairly independent. Your average crofter, your average villager, your average dude in a shack on the corner of the hill didn't need money just to put a shirt on and stuff some food in his face. That was all produced locally. You had looms and you had spinners and you had sheep making wool and you had all of these things around you, flax for linen and so on, that you did not have to go to a market to get your basics. If you wanted to live well or you wanted to have anything extra, you had to go buy it. And now you have to buy even the most basic things. You can't keep a flippin' chicken in your backyard. You can't even have eggs in your backyard. You can't keep a cow for milk. All of these things that used to be normal are no longer normal. And no longer permitted, in fact, in a lot of cases. But it's not really logistically sensible to have a chicken in every backyard. Not everyone's got a backyard. You don't want chickens in apartments. You know how it goes. It gets ridiculous with the animal manure and the poor care. People don't always take proper care of their animals. But why then do we have so much trouble getting basic foodstuffs into the stores? Why are you shopping at Tesco or Superstore or Walmart or Target or Save-On? I don't know. Why are you shopping at the large chain grocery store who delivers everything by truck from a large central hub, which is delivered from a large central hub by a train station, which is delivered from a port, which is delivered from the ocean, which came probably from China? Why are you shopping there? It's the only place you know to shop. It's the only store in town. Are you dead flippin' sure? I'm willing to bet there's at least one store in town you don't know about. They still have flour. Organic. Buckwheat flour, maybe. But you'll be able to bake your bread. They still have a lot of basics. Oh, and if you're looking for masks, try the hardware and paint stores. I bet you they're sitting on stockpiles like you've never seen. I got a pile this deep of dust masks. The exact same kind of masks people are using to feel safe when they walk around. A stack this deep. There must be 30 of them in there. And they're just sitting out there covered in dust in my bus. Should I be profiting? You want to buy one? $10 each? Also, you can make your own masks. There are patterns online. I made one when I had cancer. I made a pair of masks because I wanted something fancy. And I wanted to, I was immune compromised. I wanted to wear a mask. As it happened, I almost never wore it. It was a dumb idea. But it looked cool. I might start wearing it again if it starts to be a fashionable thing. The problem here is that we have allowed the manufacturers to offload everything, all of the needs of life, onto underpaid workers in China. And I mean, that's the worst part about it. As bad as it is to be so reliant on imports, as bad as it is to have your entire economy depend on some profiteer's whims, it's exploiting workers in China really bad, really bad. You ever sit and open an orange, you know those Christmas oranges? They're all covered up in the green paper. Unwrap them, peel them, and it's like each one's a little slice of candy. Every single time I open it, and I hold that green paper in my hands, I realize that the last fingers to touch it were some small Chinese woman who is living on the very edge. She can't afford to get sick. She can't afford to have a medical illness. She can't afford to have a problem. Anything goes wrong, she's screwed. It's just, by the way, the worst tragedy of that fake communist system, that it's not actually taking care of its people. I mean, if communism isn't taking care of its people, it's not communism. It's just totalitarianism. But the profiteers love to call it communism because it keeps everybody away from true communism, which frankly only works on a small level anyway. I don't want to share my stuff with everybody. Nobody does. You don't mind sharing your stuff with your family, but the minute you start having to share it with Jim down the road who's never picked up a screwdriver in his life and breaks everything he touches, communism falls apart. Socialism's nice because socialism looks at the idea that the country's purpose is to serve the needs of its citizens, not to turn a profit for some economic. What is the economy? Anyway, you ever question that? Have you ever asked what the economy really is, that it's so damned important? These numbers that people throw around? It's really just a euphemism for our profits. We are worried because our profits are falling. The world is having a problem, and we must stimulate our profits. We must stimulate our profits because our profits is more important than everything else. You've heard them. Just next time you hear them talking about the economy, just stick our profits. Just put the words our profits in place of economy and have a second listen. And that's the problem. Now, what are you going to do about it? You got to do something about it. No, really. You might be fine this time around, but this isn't going to stop happening. The more we squirm on the hook, the harder they're going to reel us in. And the tighter it's going to get, and the tougher it's going to get. And you sitting there just complaining are not going to win. You're not taking power, you're not taking control, and you're not going to get there where you need to go. I seriously have been saying this for ages now, and I'm not kidding. And I put my money where my mouth is. We're living on very, very low money. But I spend it first at the local, independent craft stores. Then I go to the grocery store to pick up what's left. Always start at the local craft stores. Always start local. Get your grocery list out. Get your phone out if you want to let your fingers do the walking and call them and see if they carry those things. That's fine. That's fine. But support local. You got someone locally that's making clothes? Buy some of that. It's hard to tell you to buy the clothing. You know, when you can go to Walmart and you can pick up one of these for $20, and then a weaver wants $100 because of how much the yarn cost and everything. There's only so much you can do, but are you doing it? That's really what it comes down to. Yeah, I know we can't do it all. I know there's only so much each of us can do. But to sit there and say, because it's not enough, I'm not going to do it at all. Oh, man, that's definitely not enough. I mean, that's really messed up logic, you know? Oh, well, I can't win, so I'm going to deliberately throw the race. Oh, well, we're all screwed. Let's make it happen faster. You know what? This car is breaking. Let me take a sledgehammer to it instead of fixing the transmission. That kind of approach. It's not going to work. We are not a car you can replace. You cannot replace. You cannot throw it out and start over. You just can't. I know you want to. You want to throw riots. You want to throw everybody out, start over, big riot, big reform. It doesn't. Never works. You know, think of it as having to fix a lemon. Let's say you drive a lemon. That's our economy in our world. And there is no other car. You've got a full shop where you can manufacture parts. You may have to forge the metal, though. You got to go to all that trouble to fix the car. But you don't have another choice. You don't have any other car. Think of it like that. It's a car you have to fix because it's the only one left. Think of yourself as Cuban. And you have no choice but to get your car running. What are you going to do? Slam an old Russian diesel engine into your Chevy. That's what you're going to do. And you're going to get that flippin' taxi up and running. That's what they do. And that's what the rest of us are going to have to learn to do. And it's time you learned. I already do. I was raised by people who'd been through a war and a famine. And I was taught a lot of resiliency. And then from that, I also, partly because I was always broke, because I've not been able to maintain gainful employment, I've had to become very creative, and I've had to learn to make do, and I've hung out with people who've had to learn to make do, because money doesn't socialize with no money. And so I've learned a lot of things, which turns out are becoming precious information. But you know, it's all out there on YouTube. Even if I haven't made a movie on how to, someone has. By the way, I do have a video on how to darn your socks. Do take a look at that. That is an example. Fix things. Fix that hole. Sew the holes back up. Learn to sew. Won't kill you. So, stay safe out there. Plant a garden this spring if you can. If you can't, go help somebody weed theirs. You're going to need it. Things are going to get uglier before they get better. I'm sorry. I think that's true. I don't think we're all going to get to slide along like we've been doing the last 50 years. The party's over. But it doesn't mean the sun isn't going to shine anymore. It's going to be okay for most of us. And those of us that don't make it through, they might have died in a car accident. You could get hit by a bus, as we like to say. Stop worrying so hard. Be here. Be now. Support local.